everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Hey, how's it going?
Ruben Bressler.
Hi.
Hey, buddy, you got a new show coming up that could be stressing you out? No?
Yeah, I'm just a big pile of nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love that.
I don't feel so good.
Oh man,
Mr. Stark. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we get started. There's a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah.
We also get started with our trumpet blast. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. We don't have one this week, but we did have one last week. We're going to kick it off with our giveaway, which we now are running through our friends at Streamlabs, because I can give you a bonus for subscribing to this channel. If you're a subscriber, you get +1 ticket. We are giving away a booster box of Guilds of Ravnica. Get in on that. Just put !raffle and you're in there, and that's sweet. So good luck, everybody. We'll give it away. Of course, I can't ship it overseas because rules, but I'll give you a gift certificate if you win and you're overseas. Yeah. So just kind of a thing.
Or you can come pick it up from Evan's house.
It's fine. Come by. We'll draft. It'll be sweet. It'll be awesome. So look, Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition came out today. I mean, and by came out, I mean the Hasbro toy shop crap the bed, and I mean like big crap, big piles of crap, nasty.
Yes.
Wasn't even there at the start. If only they had known for months this was going to be the day, and this was going to be the minute. They told us the minute this was going to be available, and that minute came, and that minute passed, and nothing happened, and then all of a sudden it said it was going to be on sale tomorrow, and then all of a sudden it was live. And the Mythic boxes sold out in approximately an hour and a half-ish, a little bit more than an hour and a half, which is important for a few reasons. One, Wizards is 100% going to do this again. Congratulations, Internet. You have encouraged them.
We knew that this none of the feedback was going to change anything about how much it was going to sell out. So
right. So if you wanted one, you had to be very patient. It took me half an hour to get through the process.
Well, now there was also another way. There was also a website where I guess you could pre-order through CFB, and you could tie it to your DCI number or someone's DCI number, and then you can pick it up at a GP.
Yes, and
I guess that was the thing too. I had a couple people that were like, "Hey, girl."
Those are still
Milwaukee.
Right. Those are still available, as I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're available at US GPs. That's a question.
Yeah, they are, because I just had a friend of mine is having me pick up one for them at GP Milwaukee.
Nice.
But I had several people that were like, "Are you going to pick up a box?" And I was like, "Someone already got me. Sorry."
Nice. Well, either way, selling out in an hour and a half is important for a few reasons. If we were still talking right now and they were still available on the website and they didn't sell out until like next week, that would be a serious problem.
Yeah.
Right.
The fact that these disappeared, the fact that today, right now, I can show you completed listings for $450, $435. People are pre-ordering the individual planeswalkers, such as a $140 Liliana the Last Hope, $130 foil Teferi. These are actual sale prices. This isn't just like out there for buy it now. Someone bought it now for that price. So, again, the ceiling for Magic products is huge. Wizards is still apologizing for the toy shop because that site's trash, and somehow they continue to use trash, and we wish they wouldn't use the trash website. I get it. It's Hasbro's. I understand it. You're never going to change it. Whatever. Anyway, what we expected to happen happened. Boxes are gone. And the way that I'd put it, just to kind of put a chair in this, they basically said, "Hey, we're going to make some reserve list cards. Are you interested in those?" Because just like the invocations, just like the masterpieces, they're not going to reprint them this way ever again. They might reprint the card, but they won't reprint it looking like this, just like they won't reprint it looking like those cards. Why? Those cards exploded. Basically, the market was like, wait a minute. They're never going to make those things again. I got to get some right now. And then poof, they exploded. And this one was just like ready to happen. So I would 100% expect this to happen again for Ravnica Allegiance. My guess is they're going to make a higher print run because, who doesn't love money? And we'll see where they go from there. It was a weird time around noon Eastern.
It was just a strange, and then we all got the same text message also. It was just a weird early afternoon today, having to deal with all that.
Yeah, it was.
It's frustrating because there's this feeling, and in light of other events, which we'll certainly talk about, there's this feeling that it's just never going to get better. Like it would be one thing if you learn from the mistake where it's like, okay, our store can't handle this traffic or whatever, we're going to be better next time. But I mean, I'm happy that the product's sold, certainly, and I'm happy that people get to enjoy the cards they want. But there is still this feeling of, so we're gonna be back here with another, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna be back here in 3 months with your crappy website, and you will probably take nothing away from this, and that makes me a little disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I would say it's even money to say that the next launch of a Mythic Edition, whatever, is just going to be completely botched. Like, actual zero. I don't know what happened when the listing looked fine, and it looked like everything was there, but someone didn't put the number in the quantity field and hit update that they needed to at 11:59 or whatever, but sure. Well, look, we've got arguably bigger fish to fry. I kind of argued amongst myself as to which one to put as the first pick. Gather Townsfolk, Wizards. Oh, man. And I said this in the pre-show. I swear to God, I think Wizards is like Doom Whisperer because it's just all arms flailing around. And one of the arms is like Silver Showcase. And the other arm is just like, we should just give 6 months ban. And the other was like, we should give a 1.5 ban for taking the Flooded Strand. What the hell is happening?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
There have been a lot of poor choices that have happened this week that are just mind-boggling.
It blows my freaking mind. Okay, look, what happened today was that Matthew Falks, who took the extra promo at his nationals, got busted, got banned for a 1.5 for doing that. Dan Ward, at the largest event that we have, the most prestigious tournament, the biggest stage, the biggest names, the biggest money, was DQ'd. Because he decided he didn't want to learn, he didn't want to know how meddling mage worked. Sure, buddy, right. Okay, whatever. So he ran that. There's a whole thread on Reddit if you want to go see more of his, like, drawing 3 off Faithless Looting, stuff like that. Like that.
Listen, I have drawn
many.
Oh, you mean normal draw. Okay, never mind. I read 3 off of Faithless Looting. Like that.
You don't play Magic. It's
no, I get
it. Now, when you cheat at the highest level, when Jerry Thompson doesn't play in your World Championships 2 weeks ago, for this very freaking, this was one of the reasons, was this cheating nonsense. 6 months. Gave that boy 6 months. He'll be back playing by the 3rd Ravnica set. Get out of here. Let's not even forget Bertoncini's going to be at the Pro Tour. Bertoncini's going to be at the next Pro Tour. They're doing nothing. They have said nothing. Wizards, and this is rich. This is real good. Remember August 23rd? August 23rd. This was right in the middle of Bertoncini. I wrote my article on cool stuff. Like, the tide was coming for the cheaters, right? We're going to make this happen. And again, I felt like the exclamation point was Jerry. Well, Magic Pro Tour says, on August 23rd, it has always been important to us that competitive Magic is fair and honest, but we can do more. We're following the conversation, and we're starting a process to work with key community members to evaluate DCI policies and tournament rules to keep Magic a leader in competitive gaming. BS. You lose the game, because there's no way this happens and that happened. Those 2 things did not happen. One of them did, but not the other one. The idea of there is not necessary justice, that you are encouraged almost to cheat because this guy cheated at the Pro Tour. Busted.
Yeah.
Has a history of being shady, has a history of videos. You can go watch him being shady. And these are the types of people that almost make it look good. And so here we have what is arguably one of the sickest burns I've ever seen in my life. Alexander Hain says, oftentimes people ask me how to get good at Magic or how to get on the PT. I explain that there's no quick fix, that there's often years of practice and learning ahead. Now I'll just tell them something different. Cheat. Even if you get caught, doesn't matter. And someone said, okay, new question. How do I get good at cheating? Is there a way I can cheat so that I get better at cheating? Asking for a friend. And Alexander Hain says, you're asking the wrong Alex, buddy.
Right.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Savage. Okay, so let's imagine. Okay, let's imagine a world, right, where today, instead of the slipping of the under the door, Dan Ward's banned for 6 months, and they don't say anything. They have an article, right, where they're like, "Yo, cheating in Magic. And they're putting the hammer down, right? And they say, Dan Ward, 3 years, go home, go away. 3 years, we'll see, and we might think about letting you back in. You know, we'll see. Jared Betcher, banned. Alex Bertonchetti, banned. Get at us if you got any problems or questions with that at our Twitter, at our whatever, at our Tumblr, and the end, and just drop the mic. Like, what kind of world would that have entered into? You know, said that what Jerry did was important. Said that what Jerry did was to try to say, hey, we can be better. We can punish these cheaters, keep them out of our game. These people who are stealing things from other players actively, and you are giving them so many chances to do it over and over again, and we don't want it. And playing Magic is not a right; it's a privilege, and you don't have to necessarily be in that sandbox.
Yeah,
and yet here we are still.
Totally agree with everything you just said. It's just staggering at this point, the thought processes behind how we got to where we are.
It just makes no sense to me. And again, this whole thing, like, you took advantage of the promo and you got 3 times as much as the guy who cheated at the Pro Tour.
Right.
I mean, come on. There is absolutely not a sentencing guideline in the DCI, in my opinion, because if there is, it is broken and it makes no sense.
Well, it certainly is easier to prove attempted theft or actual theft than the nebulous world of cheats, but still.
And again, and some other players had rightly mentioned, hey, you know, sometimes they're not cheating, and we got to make sure that the process is thorough and it's fair and all that stuff. And I don't want non-cheaters to get punished. I want cheaters to get punished. I want cheaters to leave. And clearly this guy has a long history of angle shooting, history of being cheating on camera, and yet here we are. And Jerry, this is the stuff. This is the stuff. Exactly what he did was for this, to make this not happen. To make Wizards say cheating is a big deal. Cut it out or you're going to get serious repercussions. Here we are. So, moving on. Mr. Mark Rosewater decided to address the Walmart and Target and Amazon direct sales, which I thought was interesting.
Why are they asking Morrow?
Yeah.
Because he's the face of the company at this point. He actually talks to people. There's no Helene Bourgeau.
I understand that, but it's just like,
there's no Helene. They got to yell at something.
That's very true. We certainly talked about that in the pre-show, but I just
Yeah, we miss her greatly.
Who's in Egypt right now, living her best life at the freaking pyramids? Like, I'm in my apartment. It feels like Egypt because it's 80 degrees. She's literally in Egypt. Like, bow down.
Wow. Well, there you go. Well, someone asked, why do Wizards attack local game stores again with this seemingly greedy Amazon deal? And it's like, whoa, slow the roll, bruh. Because not everything is as it is always framed to be. And just like I said last week, to not go over like all of his comments or whatever, the point is that some people don't have LGSs. Some people get all their stuff from Amazon, so they want to buy it there anyway. Again, I think this is bonus. Like on the business side of Wizards, you have direct sales, so you're going to have guaranteed big money sales that go directly to one distributor, to one outlet, which would be Amazon or Target or whatever. And again, this is essentially saying that CSI, that CFB, that CSG are out of the booster box business. I want to repeat that. The largest retailers in this country, if they are paying attention, and I'm sure they are not going to look at booster boxes as a way to be a major profit-driven segment of their Magic business. It's going to basically all move into singles. And singles are great because single sales have been amazing for Guilds of Ravnica. In fact, like all over the set, great. Not just like the Mythics are selling, but the Rares aren't, which was a problem with M19. Like all of the cards, from Common to Mythic, are selling, and that is terrific. But booster boxes just aren't that much. Why? Because you can get them right now at Amazon or Target or Walmart for just as cheap or cheaper than people like myself and the other outlets can. So part of what I think he was trying to say was that, look, you know, this isn't necessarily going to destroy local game stores. It's always funny to cry super chicken little over stuff, but ultimately this is going to hurt the major online retailers' booster box sales than it is anything else. And your friendly local game store should be making their money on singles, by the way.
Well, singles and snacks, right?
Singles,
That's
snacks,
where you
supplies, all that stuff. You should,
right.
That's where you're able to make your money.
You should be doing. Well, first of all, it's singles, snacks, and supplies, as opposed to booster box sales.
Fair enough. Well, it's one of those, like, you know, it's a new norm, right? It's a new normal, and this excuse me, this is very similar, again, like last week, very similar to what happened to board games. They started getting in bed with Amazon, they started getting in bed with Target and Walmart and whatever. And let me tell you a little bit about maps and why maps are not great and why maps are wanting to have your cake and eat it too. So maps are minimum advertised pricing. Basically, I can't say that I'm selling a booster box for $90. Wizard says you can't say you're selling it for any less than $100. Okay, let's say they sell that, or they say that. Well, under the current system, we get the boxes for whatever price, we sell it for whatever price we want, we take whatever margin we get out of that, and that's the end of the day. Well, maybe that price ended up being $90, and they were selling for $90 the whole time. Well, if you had a board game that you sold MSRP for $100 and you didn't want to advertise for less than that, but we sold it at $90, well, when you take the game that you've already sold to distributors, and distributors have already sent it out, and you know people are selling it all over the world. Well, when you bring it to the Walmarts of the world, and you're like, "Hey, I want to put my game in Walmart," and Walmart says, "Oh, well, what's the game worth?" You know, they look up another thing, like, "Oh, it's worth $90." Well, we'll sell it for $90. Well, no, I want you to sell it for $100. It's worth $100. And I made this thing now that says you can't advertise it for less than $100. And they're like, "Yeah, but it's sold for $90, so I don't want to give you $100." And I don't want to base the price that I'm buying it on as $100. I want to base the price that I'm buying it on as $90, because that's what it's actually going to sell for, because that's the price that the market has essentially decided upon. And you essentially, any minimum advertised pricing is fighting that their thing, where they sold it to distribution, they sold their stuff and they're happy the way it's sold, and now they go to other big box retailers and say, "Hey, I want to sell through you now," and they go, "Well, what's it worth?" Well, if it's only advertised as $100, it could look like it's not, you know, it's worth more than it is when it's worth only $90. So minimum advertised pricing stuff is weird. A lot of people bring up Games Workshop, and here's the key. Here's the number one reason why it won't work. Number one reason why it works so well for Games Workshop and will not work well for Wizards of the Coast. Games Workshop distributes their own products. They are the distributor. There is no middleman. They go direct, and they will sue you. They can legally sue you to get all the product back if you do something they don't like. So they're the only source, and so they're the only people who can police it as well. Once you get to distribution, your game or whatever is just out in the world. Your products are out in the world, and they're going to be sold for whatever they're going to be sold for. And if you have a minimum advertised price, people are just going to say, "Well, you'll see the price in the cart." Happens all the time, because things will sell at whatever they sort of need to in order to move and have the retail business continue to roll. And that's just the facts.
So there's no feasible way. Let's assume for the moment that Wizards of the Coast even wanted to head in that direction. Is there a feasible way to take the model that Games Workshop uses?
I don't think so. Not without. I mean, because think about it. Wizards just killed their direct sales program.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Is that was the closest equivalent?
Yes, it was, and it is. And if Wizards said we're not distributing through any distributors anymore, and you're only going through us, they can police the living crap out of it. But it also is going to add a ton of overhead. I mean, a ton. You're going to need a whole swath of people just to take the orders, let alone police things, let alone make sure that things are moving along so people get their product when they need it, and yada yada. Like that's a whole thing that Games Workshop has, I'm sure, an arm of the company to do. That's all they do is go police their products and the pricing for those products, and they've done, from what I can tell, a great job at that, and that's awesome. But if you use distributors, you're never going to get your minimum advertised pricing thing to work. It's just not going to work. So that's the business side of things, unfortunately. The pre-release that wasn't.
Damn it.
This was.
Go get that Sarah McLachlan. Hold on.
This was a fun one.
This is what really infuriated me.
Yeah, it's the posted on CoolStuffInc.com was an article this week from Bruce Richard where he has traditionally ran pre-releases in a library because the local game store didn't have enough space. He not only has ran these for years, Wizards has ran articles touting the community building and the fun times the kids had and the sweet write-up from Bruce because he's a great writer and all that stuff. They've done that before multiple times, except this time when the hammer came down and they told them no.
I actually knew this was coming down the pipe ahead of time. I got to spend time with Bruce at Gen Con. He's a lovely person. If you ever get to play Commander with him or just get to be around him, he's just an amazing community member. And so I knew this was happening months ago. And we had actually talked about this on a pre-show shortly after Gen Con, where Bruce had kind of warned me that this had happened and that he was looking to possibly signal boost what happened because he was really upset about it. And I'm one of the people who lived for those pre-release posts. I loved seeing all the kids. I loved seeing all of the community building that he was doing. You know, he did a lot of this on his own dime. He and his friends would run it themselves. You know, he had other teenagers from the neighborhood that had maybe aged out of the pre-release to come back and kind of judge it. Bruce would give away cards from his own collection to make sure that no kid left without any prizes. This was just an amazing example of what you can do to foster a community. And it was just, like I said, I knew this was coming down the pipe, and it was just heartbreaking to read about.
Yeah, it's one of the things that, you know, there was a choice, essentially, you know, for cool stuff to be like, do we want to post this? Is this a thing we want to do? You know, we try to, at least I feel like most of the role that I play, and a lot of the content plays, is that we all just love Magic, and we just want to right the wrongs when we see them. And this is a definite wrong that we can right. And for me, and what I was tweeting about was just, you know, this is their sandbox. This is their rules. They made this rule set. There's nothing stopping them from changing it. There's nothing stopping them from having a different way of doing things. This is what destroyed the UK gaming market, where, you know, they had to play in pubs or whatever because, you know, I don't know if you've been to Europe, but there's no space there. There's none.
We talked about that extensively on an episode a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just want to clarify what happened because I'm not sure if we talked about it. So basically, He was running these pre-releases at the local library. Wizards, along with kind of revamping the WPN standards, had got wind of this, or just was kind of following up with the local game store to make sure that their venue was being up to date and being, you know, meeting standards. And when Wizards kind of got word that they were having the pre-releases through the library, they said that they weren't allowed to do that anymore. And so Bruce had included pictures of what the pre-releases had looked before. You know, you had 30 plus smiling, happy kids. You know, some of us
advertised on Daily MTG on the homepage.
Some of these kids we had seen multiple times. Like my favorite was, I think his name was Connor. He had big red curly hair, so naturally I was rooting for him. And so they were almost like characters in a reality show where we got to root for certain kids. And there were other community members who would come in and judge and help organize. And then he took a picture of what happened this past weekend where the library was empty, and he was like, half of these kids, you know. And to be fair, I mean, the parents have valid reasons for not taking their kids to the store. Some of the parents felt like the stores maybe were, you know, not safe, or maybe they had concerns because the crowd skewed a little older or a little more competitive, you know. And so the library really was just sort of the perfect place where it was a casual, fun, they were around kids their own age. It was low stakes. The kids were able to learn how to play the game. I mean, this was just a perfect environment for these kids.
Yeah. In a school too.
Yeah, so it was in a library, and a local library, and just to see Wizards be seemingly unwilling to work with Bruce, like really, and the outcry from the community was almost instantaneous of like, are you serious? Like, you're really good kids? Like, come on. Like,
well, I know that there was a specific article posted to one of the websites.
Cool stuff. We just talked about it. Yeah. And so I boosted it, Emma boosted it, and before the end of the day, Bruce had posted an addendum that Wizards had reached out to him, and they're not necessarily going to let him do the pre-releases at the library anymore, but he did indicate that they were going to work with him to either get product or to coordinate with other stores to where he could still run something. But it was just a pretty swift backlash of like, seriously, Wizards, like these are guidelines. They're meant to be loose frameworks of how this should be run. These weren't meant to be hard or fast rules. Like you said, Evan, you could fix this if you wanted to, and you didn't want to. And the best part of all is I had to laugh at my friend Chris, who's one of our patrons. You know, the banning and restricted announcement came out the same day, and he replied, and he was like,
tweet was
standard
dope.
No changes, modern no changes. Oh, you banned half a dozen kids from the Boston area. Way to go, Wizards. And it was like, whoop.
I mean, there were other benefits, like the prize support was very flat. You know, everybody got a pack. You got a pack even if you scrubbed right out, because that's the way you want it to be when there's a bunch of kids playing.
Kids, like, it wasn't like they were flying Kakistani flags. It wasn't like they were having outbursts about the Jews on Facebook. It was the most like harmless, beautiful, feel good in a world full of nonsense. Really, like, come on.
Right. So, look, this to me reeks of no one wants to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone at Wizards is just like, yep, yes, absolutely. This policy is just
Not
the
letting her rock
policy.
the boat and not having the foresight to think about what would happen. Like, did you like who thought that you were going to do this? You were going to take away a pre-release from over 30 kids and a popular community writer, and you thought no one would notice. You thought no one would blink. Like, what?
Yeah, I think that they simply didn't think. I think that that's exactly it. They were towing the company line and doing everything that they do as good company soldiers, and darned with the specifics of this particular case, we're following the rules. And then as soon as it was proven to them that the good outweighed the bad here over Twitter and over an actual article being written, they were very quick to backpedal and fix their mistake, which, to their credit, they went and it sounds like they're fixing or have fixed the mistake going forward.
Right. And Wizards, again, this is one of those, but just because you put out the fire doesn't mean you didn't set the fire. That's still a problem, because again, Wizards at this point feels sometimes, and in this way particularly, incredibly corporate, like so crazy corporate, because it takes actual courage in a company like that to be like, can we not do this? Can we do something else? Can we provide exceptions in scenarios that are very unique? That said, I always love to see the devil's advocate, right? I want to hear what's the actual other sort of side of that argument, which is, if a WPN location doesn't have space for product, they still get access to the WPN benefits. They still get access to Friday Night Magic promos. They still get access to the WPN exclusive stuff like the J Spellbook or whatever, or from the Vault. They still get access to pre-release product, and the ability to run pre-releases or whatever. They have the ability to do that stuff. So, you can imagine if somewhere didn't have a place to play F&M, but they got F&M promos, what they're going to do with those promos,
Right.
And nobody wants those scenarios. This is the part where it takes work, and this is the part where it takes courage, where you're able to say, look, I'm going to take this on a case-by-case basis, and I want to make sure that Bruce Richard and his kids have these pre-release packs for the next pre-release. And I'm not going to necessarily give the store all these F&M promos anymore, but I'm going to recognize that this is a special, unique, valuable case for the company, that it is better for us to do this extra work than it is to deal with the fallout of what happens when our draconian, iron fist,
draconian,
straight up, like,
Well, they got a dragon right there in the lobby. So
I also want to recognize some of the people who came together. John Medina, a friend of the show, he was on our most recent Guilds of Ravnica cassette review. He came out and was like, "I'll get the kids pre-release packs." Like, he jumped into the
nice.
Eric Klug even was like, "I'm in, like, tell me where to contribute." Like, not only were there people signal boosting, but there were people that were like, "I will help get these kids products." Like, some of the MTG finance guys, came together. Some other community members were like, "I don't necessarily have the pull, but here's money. Will money help?" And like, it was just really great to see people come together just for this really great cause of, like, really, like, your kids.
It takes somebody to champion it. I mean, look, like and someone mentioned in the chat, the pre-release, right? That took effort. Someone had to go out on a limb and say, hey, I think this is a good idea. I want to make this happen. I'm going to do the logistics. I'm going to make, pay the people, blah, 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 get the contracts. And they made that happen. And you can also change this. God. And I've heard from people who work inside Wizards. No one wants to rock that boat. They got a big golden goose. Once the word comes from on high, you don't want to be the troublemaker. You don't want to be the one who's always questioning so-and-so about their plans. And they're super siloed, so don't even act like marketing's going to go talk to R&D, or R&D can jump in on brand, because that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
very important thing that you all can go do right now, which is go follow Bruce on Twitter.
It's good.
His account is @ManaBurned. He's a writer for cool stuff, obviously, but more importantly, he is the benevolent overlord. Excuse me. I have the hiccups. He's the benevolent overlord of these kids' pre-releases and events, and a TO for the youngins in the neighborhood, as he says in his Twitter bio. So
absolutely.
Go follow @ManaBurned, because Bruce Richard's a great guy.
Hashtag free for Ocedon. The banned and restricted update showed up this week, and this is usually one of our top stories. This isn't that much top in 30 minutes in. But
you want your tops to do things, Evan.
It's not Sensei's divining bottom, you know what I'm saying? All right. BNR update, no changes, which means Rampaging for Ocedon stays a banned card for no reason. Well, let's remember this. Hold on. their reasoning was that they were expecting something to happen in the metagame. And I don't.
Well, I mean, we have just seen a set come out that does seem to rely on token strategies with Celestia.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've seen some screenshots of people like Saffron Olive testing Celestia decks in Standard. I mean, if you do, the argument was that it was possibly keeping tribal decks from coming out with Ixalan. They wanted to give the vampires and the merfolk and things like that a shot. And while none of those decks really, came out, now we're looking at another set that is looking to possibly have some strategies involving lots of creatures. And so I can see that,
I don't know.
I think that I understand looking at it from a future perspective, but that means that Ferocidon is in jail for crimes he has yet to commit. It is, you need to let him go on time served.
I was a little disappointed that we, Eternal Weekend is coming up next month. And, there was some talk about Vintage being a little bit stale. Rich Shea has been very vocal about that. We've seen a bit of a attendance dip in terms of the Magic Online leagues for Vintage. Outcome, has been ever so popular on Magic Online. It would have been nice to have had something to shake up Eternal Weekend a little bit, maybe a restriction or something. Even just some more unbannings. Modern feels great right now. Legacy's been very popular lately, what with the demise of Death, right? And it's been very, healthy. And so I'm always of the mindset that I'd love to see more unbannings. But in particular, I was hoping for a little something in Vintage, just kind of shake that up a little bit before EW.
What were you, what did you have your eye on for a Vintage unbanning?
Outcome is just
paradoxical
this right now. Like, it's so
for an unbanning or a banning?
Restricting, yeah. So the problem I have with Outcome is it's not only a powerful card, but the problem with Outcome decks is they run like one win condition. And so it wouldn't be so bad if you cast your one Outcome, you bring up your 5 artifacts, and you do something to kill me. You're having to sit through at least 2 or 3 outcomes to find your one win con. And so it's just really tedious to have to sit through. If you're going to kill me, just get it over with. And so the decks are built badly. It's pretty mindless. And it's just, I think Outcome is really the offender lately. It's just so stupid. It's so good right now that it kind of falls victim to when a card is so good that you can run it with anything because it doesn't matter. It's that good. I faced a young man the other day who was on Paradoxical Outcome with Titania.
Yeah.
Why? Because he can. Because you can
get a land from your graveyard. That's why.
You can run Paradoxical with anything, and it's so good it doesn't matter what color combination. It doesn't. What was it they used to say? You could play. What was it when Survival of the Fittest? They were. Yeah, you can play this survival or that survival or that survival. Yep. You can run anything with Outcome. Who cares? And
there was aggro survival, control survival, and mid-range survival.
You can run Esper Outcome. You can run Blue-Black Outcome, Grixis Outcome. Who cares?
Yeah, I'm looking at this list of I've looked at a couple of various paradoxical decks, and it is pretty absurd that every single list is mono 1-ofs, a couple of 2-ofs, very rarely a 3-of, and then 4 paradoxical outcomes and 4 force of will. And that's the whole deck. And there is some nonsense in some of these decks.
Well, I have screenshots of how high the storm counts have gotten because they run that one win count. I had a guy who got up to storm 40, and I was like, I could be dead right now. He had 4 outcomes in the yard and still hadn't found a way to kill me. And I was like, build your deck better.
Well, gosh, all I'm saying is, Rampage of Ferocidon is the weirdest banned card ever in Magic since like Ollie from Cairo or Airdate for a while, or
Dingus Egg.
Wild Nicodle there for a hot minute was banned. Seriously, but even those, every single one of those cards you could say like saw some amount of play and impacted the game in some way. Rampage of Ferocidon didn't do anything. It was barely in deck list to start with. Like, could we see if it's an issue? Like, is that a problem? And it was even an older format. Again, he was paying for sins of other cards when it got banned in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's cool.
It's just weird. I don't get it.
It is very strange. It is a knob that Wizards can twist in the future, and I hope that they choose to do so if the tokens decks get overpowered, or if, a go wide Boros or Celestia strategy is the number 1 and number 2 deck in the format, certainly it's another tool in their back pocket rather than willy-nilly doing it before we've even had a standard the way that it currently is. With that said, it's a dinosaur to help push dinosaurs forward. It's a red card to help push the red decks forward. It's an effect to keep the creature strategies under wraps. All of these things are things that you value in a standard environment that you want to be varied. And so I don't think this is the last time that we'll talk about the Ferocidon.
Speaking of ban-worthy, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Creeping Chill is now a 4 of in Modern Dredge.
I saw that.
There were 2 Dredge decks in the top 8 of the Modern Challenge. They were both running Creeping Chill.
As they should. That card was fan freaking
It's so good. There are screenshots of people like Dredge 5, and there's 2 of them.
Man, I have tried, I'm telling you, I have tried every which way but loose to try to make that thing work in standard. I have.
Oh my god.
I've played the Surveil deck, 4 Dimir Bug, 4 of that 1/2 that surveils when it attacks, which is really good when it
How
happens.
about the Mausoleum Secrets? Is that seeing play, huh?
Not yet, but it
Not
should.
yet.
It's still very good. Anyway, maybe see some sideboard play. But we'll see. Anyway, I tried my damnedest, I swear.
And Ruben Jaya Ballard won a thing.
I know. Jay Ballard finally won a thing a week after my pie bet gets settled.
Like a 5-0 of a
Well,
league.
it didn't really win anything. It went 5-0 in a league. Let's not go too far. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
You got to start somewhere. I'm at least on 1 win.
You're right.
Most of your sequence has been on 0 wins.
More than we can say for Mausoleum Secrets.
Oh my lips. Yeah, well, I'll take powerful cards and we'll see where they go.
Yeah, I'll take powerful cards and we'll see where they go.
Yeah, man. You knew the time frame. You knew the time frame. Very clear. From the you had one job category.
Oh my god. This is so bad.
This is literally the last thing Wizards needed. I mean, the actual last thing. It makes no sense. It makes me sad.
Oh.
My god. Somebody made a bunch of merch and then forgot to check if the names were right.
Of World's competitors, not Joey at your local game store, Ken Yukihiro, the winner
Dominguez.
of Javier Dominguez.
God almighty. I can't, man.
You spelled the winner of Worlds' last name wrong. What?
Dominguez.
Oh
yeah, pretty spectacular.
Well, look, there might be now. There's a question over it. Was it Yukihiro?
Yukihiro?
But I mean, come on, they misspelled Yuya Watanabe on his ring for the Hall of Fame, and then we have these weird like Dominguez is just a straight mistake. Yukihiro, I could at least see or understand. Dominguez, if you will, is just a hot mess of did not need this.
Their hearts.
Just the last thing they needed. With some like egg on the face, dumb thing that should never have happened.
Speaking of swag, in World's swag news, Jerry Thompson's World's swag, unused World's swag went to a sale yesterday. All that stuff, including the unvarnished Jerry Thompson player badge, went away for a cool $510.
Does he keep anything? Like, I'm convinced he just lives in a hut somewhere and just sells everything.
If he kept everything, he wouldn't have any room to sleep.
True.
So,
I mean,
get your hustle on.
Yeah, lives pretty frugally, as I understand it. So, more power to him.
He lives on nothing but frozen pizzas and dreams.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that Enter the Battlefield when they were interviewing Chapin and he was making fried chicken.
Yeah.
You've heard about Caleb Shearer and the peanuts, too. Have you heard that?
Right. Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, apparently Caleb Shearer lives and dies by peanuts. It's crazy.
And he eats like a certain calorie count of peanuts. It's like, it's okay. It's strange. Patrick Chapin lives on fried chicken and lemonade. I don't know if you knew that. Yep. Fried chicken and lemonade is literally.
I live on peach rings. I've got peach rings and Diet Coke.
I mean, I got a Diet Cherry Pepsi somewhere. It's right here somewhere.
Yeah, we all have our something. Ruben, what's your something?
I got a half-eaten box of sushi here. I have water. I drink a lot of water.
He has a dialysis pump, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he's got.
It's not a dialysis pump.
Not a dialysis. It's
I do have robot parts.
No, you got robot. Not dialysis. It's help me.
It is hilarious when I'm having dinner with my aunt and uncle, and I prefer Coke Zero. My aunt prefers Diet Coke, and my uncle prefers Diet Pepsi. So.
Not that you say aunt.
Aunt.
You don't say Evan. What do you say?
Insulin pump. Thank you, chat. Derp.
I say aunt, but that's me.
Even though I kept saying, "Help me out, Ruben." Ruben's like, "No."
I was in the middle of a different story.
Were you?
Unbelievable.
So to congratulate a fellow member of the community, Strictly Better MTG, Mr. Dev, passed 100,000 subscribers.
Wow!
Yeah.
Way to go. That's fantastic. At SBMTG Dev on Twitter, he had a 100K subscriber spectacular, which is fun. The man's been putting in the work. I know. I've been there, and I've put in that work, and I've seen those gains that you can make. And you know, I don't work that hard anymore, therefore I don't see the results I got anymore. And that's just kind of how it works. You know.
He also seems to keep his head low to the ground. You don't really hear, you know, him sort of going through any snafus or any sort of scandals or anything.
Right.
He also contributes to TCG Player. And I'm under the impression that he's also sort of known for brewing or known for budget options as well. So he really runs the gamut there from, you know, competitive things to budget things. And this seems like a really humble, you know, wholesome guy that I can certainly get behind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. His stuff is super high energy. You can just tell his passion about all the topics. He's big on brews, like you mentioned. He's big on budget cards. He does a lot of set review stuff as well. And yeah, just really cool to see the community of other YouTube personalities come out of the woodwork to congratulate him on the sixth digit.
Yeah, and he's also kind of running the algorithm. You know, YouTube wants you to put out a video every day or every other day, and if you don't, they will punish you, and they won't put you in certain listings, or they won't put you in certain videos or promote them or whatever. So there is a rich get richer type feel with YouTube, and you can also see, as we talked about a few weeks ago, the burnout that creates. You know, because I'll tell you, after making content for like 8 years, I was there. I was like, I've done this every week of my life for this very long period of time. I just want to try something different. I just want to do something else for at least a little while.
You think we should go on vacation? Is that what you're asking for?
No, we miss weeks here and there.
We miss weeks here and there.
Like, you know, we'll probably miss Christmas.
We only miss weeks when you don't show up, Ruben. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Well.
Wow.
Theoretically, I'm showing up every week that I'm on vacation on the other side of the country.
It's true.
Jesus.
No matter where he was, we had a show.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
I was just curious, you know, sometimes you need an off season. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need a few weeks to film new episodes, get the writers back on track.
Fair enough. All right. So moving on to Desperate Ravings. Whew, so many things to talk about. I love it. GP Vancouver, which was a team limited format, is now.
Yeah, this is weird. This is a weird thing to just like kind of drop out of nowhere.
2 months away? 2 months?
3 months.
Well, it's
most of 3 months.
It's at the end of December, like literally like the last weekend of December. That's happening. The format changed from team limited to just limited. As you can imagine, people are pissed. I mean, first of all, we're Magic players. Second of all, you know, people's made plans stuff. When it comes to team events, that's usually when you have to, you know, you call in your buddies and you got to do the thing, get the Airbnbs, get the airfare and stuff. And some people have already, you know, bought these plane tickets and gotten these hotel rooms. And now they're like, I don't want to go if it's just limited. I was there to hang out with my friends and help build the decks and help them play and all this other stuff. The things you get out of those team events. And you know, the top comment is, my whole friend group has been planning our trio teams since this was announced. Why would you do this?
Yeah.
You know, and then they're like, well,
wasn't the G schedule supposed to come out today too? Like the greater schedule?
I believe that's tomorrow.
Okay, sorry.
I would love for it. I mean, we've been waiting for however
we finally
long.
got the PPTQ schedule.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
What a world.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're like, well, now there are going to be team limited side events. You know, I hate to break it to you, that might not have been the right note to hit on that one.
Yeah, to try to, we burned down your village, here's some gold.
Yeah.
Probably not the right message. It's really awkward timing, not just because of how soon before the event is and how much people have been planning around this, but also because this seems like they replaced it with just regular limited, which is awkward to me. I thought they'd replace it with a constructed event, because limited at the end of this will be near the end of the run of the set, right? They will have been drafting for 3 months already, so just kind of an awkward timing.
Right. I mean, it was supposed to be, as far as I know, Ravnica, and Ravnica is a great set, so it's not like it would have been a bad time.
No, I mean, it seems fine. I haven't drafted any Ravnica yet, but still, you know, any set can be a great set, and you still run into, you know, even, for example, drafting Dominaria was great, but by the end of Dominaria, it was like, all right, I've drafted enough Dominaria for now.
Right, and you know, watching Gabe Nassif draft Guilds of Ravnica is really interesting. And he of course, keeps winning because it turns out he's really good at Magic.
Right.
Who he reminds me of?
Who's that?
Okay, have you ever seen the movie Zootopia?
Yeah.
Yes.
The sloth and the DMV.
Wow.
Because he's just very deliberate. Like if you watch him stream or you watch him play, he's just very he leans very close and he takes a very long time. And I always just feel like I'm gonna watch the
slow grin.
Yeah.
God bless him. I'm a big fan.
Right.
Fan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he was showing some of his green-black decks, and in one of his green-black decks, he had dead weight in the sideboard. And I was like, there is never a time in my existence where I would leave that in the sideboard in a draft deck, in a format. And I was like, wow. And he's like, well, I need more creatures for undergrowth. And I'm like, I would never have thought that way. I would have been like, this card is uncuttable. Everything else is cuttable. That's really interesting to me. So that said, and there's of course there's some rumors running around about a different set being featured instead of Ravnica. We'll see. All right, maybe. Moving on, there is some new leadership for MTG Judges. Ruben, you want to tell us about it?
Yeah. So over the beginning of the fourth quarter of the year, October 1st, there was quite the changing of the guard in the regional coordinator, the RC position, across not just the United States but across the world. Some of the stalwart members that you might recognize from local tournaments near you, specifically for me, the two names that I saw ending their tenures as regional coordinators were Stephen Briggs and Nicholas Sabin, who were staples of my existence in Magic Tournament for the longest time. And then, of course, have been regional coordinators for, I think, 6 or 7 years apiece between them. And the other... What happened?
Uh-oh.
I just realized that Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands,
Luxembourg. Yes.
Sorry.
That was a hell of a reaction to figure out what Benelux is.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg is a region in the Magic.
We have a restaurant in Milwaukee called Benelux, and now...
I'm glad that we had this moment. That
we can share it together. It's awesome.
But yeah, so out are going Stephen Briggs, Nicholas Sabin, Io Huto, Georgios Trikopoulos, and Richard Drivers from their RC positions, and bringing in to replace them some folks that you might recognize, including names like Eric Levine, EDB, Eric Dustin Brown, coming into the Mid-Atlantic. Eric Levine, of course, taking over the Central. And Megan Linscott up there in the Northeast are the names that popped out to me. Obviously, Nicolette Aprayez in the Southeast is another one.
Wayne.
Yeah, I think we worked briefly together at Star City, if I recall correctly, or at least at Star City Opens. Mm-hmm. But really, this was just such a huge changing of the guard of the regional coordinator system. It's it is no small task to try to fill these seats and to try to do these jobs. And I just wanted to say that I thought it was worth bringing up and noting.
Yeah, I have several friends who are judges, and one of the things that's really hammered home is that you don't necessarily ascend or you don't necessarily get a position just because it's they don't open up positions just to open them. And you can say that you want to be an L3, but if there are no spots available and there's no need for the L3, it's not like a corporate ladder where you can say, I'm going to be CEO one day. Ultimately, the greater good is for the game and for the community. And so it's very rare that positions like this just open up kind of en masse like this. And so, it's very rare that this happens. It's very refreshing that this happens. And a lot of good faces, a lot of fresh faces have taken these spots. I know in particular, big fan of Megan Linscott, big fan of Eric Dustin Brown, Eric Levine, who's been a content creator for years. He also brought us the Levine bell curve, which we sometimes refer to. And so also Johanna Vertanen, who I love, Christina Dionysio, who we've talked about before, who we love. And so, I think it can only be a good thing for the judge program that this happens.
Of course. And it seems like it's a smooth transition. It's always nice to see something going right in at least one branch of the Magic government.
I'm all in favor of smooth transitions.
That's right.
Hey-o.
There we go.
All I'm saying is I think that there's a lot of power in collective bargaining. There's only so many judges in existence that unionizing themselves would be the best thing they could do for that program. but that's a thing that they don't appear to be doing. And I can also imagine it's something that would be squashed if it wasn't universally accepted by all the judges involved.
Yep.
That's a risk.
Yeah.
That said, congrats to all those who have risen in the ranks. And
even more congrats to those who will have some more free time on their hands.
It's true. You don't have to do this all the time. Well, speaking of doing this all the time, there's a new website called Rules Guru at rulesguru.net. I'll put the link in the chat there. Where it is a repository for Magic the Gathering rules questions. And if you ever wanted to go, I know how that works, and then go, oh my God, I had no idea how that works, this is the website for you. Because
Allison casts a sculpting steel and would like to choose the mirror battle sphere that she controls. Previously this turn, Nancy cast a gather specimens. What happens? Wow, this is like Mind Trap, but for Magic.
Yixid Jailer is just the cornerstone. It's the cornerstone for a bunch of weird rules questions. It's just a
card is awful.
Card is bad, and it's
Don't
bad
answer you and other questions. Submit your own. Wow, this is nifty. This could be like a party game.
Oh, it's super nifty. Like I love it.
There we go.
Anna Lee controls a Valakut and 5 mountains. She plays a Sacred Foundry and targets Nayeli with Valakut. In response, Nayeli activates her Memorial to War, targeting a mountain. Will she be dealt 3 damage? Woof.
There's a lot happening in these.
Yeah.
I accidentally opened up to a question that will upset Erin at the beginning, but the end result will be very happy for her.
Oh, yeah?
Nora controls a Grafdigger's cage.
Nora can go pound sand.
Okay. It gets better. You're going to be okay by the end of this Grafdigger's cage. She also controls a Foot Soldiers and has a Kami of Old Stone in her graveyard. Audrey casts Deny Reality, cascading into Living End. What happens?
Not a damn thing. Nora can suck it. Grafdigger's cage doesn't work with Living End.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Nora.
Didn't have the right one. Didn't have the right hate card there.
Oh boy.
That's pretty cool. And it's growing in real time. If you click on the home page, it shows you how many questions are available, with more of them being added each week. I think I just saw it tick up to 684 just as we were sitting here.
These names are wild, though. Aria, Ariyaah, controls a Star Compass and a Mutavault. If Aria taps her Star Compass, girl, what types of mana can it produce? These names are wild.
They are all A's and N's because
Axel
it's
active
because
player.
It's active player, non-active player.
Oh,
so clever. I love it. I also love how when you see the answer, it links you to the exact rule that it's talking about that affects this current interaction, which is brilliant.
Very cool tool this thing is.
Brianna. Oof.
I love it. So yeah, and you'll get to see every A name ever and every N name ever, which is fun. Friend of the show, fellow content producer Taryn Qualls, who makes video for MTGO Traders, mentioned or showed a picture of a new token image that is included in the Guild's Ravnica packs, and I'm gonna bring it on screen because this is one of those things. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Catch world-class Magic coverage. Catch world-class Magic streamed live with world-class coverage. Twitch.tv/Magic with Rich and Maria looking super cute. And that's a weird kind of way to showcase that. Taryn says, what a waste. Show the players playing the game, show the trophy, show the film crew. This feels like a graphic made for a friend, not a graphic made for an audience to entice viewership. I love these guys, but they're not the reason to watch Magic. Magic is and skilled play. That said, I don't necessarily agree with that per se, and there's some people who argue with him, and they make some good points, and he agrees with those as well. But for me, this was a chance for you to star build your coverage team. Not everyone knows who Rich Hagon is. Not everyone knows who Maria is. They just don't all know that.
Evan doesn't even know who Maria is.
I don't always know how to say her name.
Aaron was, so it's fine.
And that's totally fine. I'm just saying that, like, ultimately, you could have said, can you imagine them like sort of standing up and it was, it's Rich Hagon and it's and you got Marshall over there, and you got Riley Knight over there, and you have these personalities right here in front of you, and you can star build them. This is a weird way of star building Rich and Maria, but that's fine. But again, it doesn't even have their names. You don't even know who these people are.
That's the thing that was irksome to me, is that it doesn't tell you who those people are. I mean, we know who they are, but it doesn't say. I mean, if it would be different if they were sitting at the news desk.
Yeah.
And I would love to have the news desk on the back of one of those cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so Miss Bartholdi and Mr. Hagon, I think that they can deserve to have a name thing right there, even if it was the same friggin' picture. You could have said Rich Hagon and Maria at the desk, blah blah blah, like something. Give me something. This is like Star Building 101, and they're failing at it. So let's fix this, guys. We can do this. You need to actually
put some pros on it.
You need to have some names. It gets better. It gets way better because that's not the only card with pictures of people on it.
Oh, Jesus.
There's another one. And right front and center is Jerry Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. Right? There's another one that says Witness Champions Rise. Jerry's right up in front of everybody with his arm raised, kind of waving to the crowd look almost. See the best players in the multiverse battle. Catch the action at twitch.tv/magic. And... and it's got the Pro Tour trophy that has all the names of the Pro Tour champions on it. And it's got some pros back there behind him, but that's a pretty bright spotlight on Mr. Jerry Thompson. That's
like when you break up with somebody and you don't change your voicemail message and you're still both on the voicemail machine.
You're like, hey.
I mean, to be fair, do you really think that
right
it's
now?
I don't think it's that bad that ad exists.
No,
I mean,
it's just awkward.
It's not bad. It's just awkward given the light of, you have somebody who is such a visible face that you put him on tokens or placeholders. He then boycotts your event, and that doesn't figure into getting him back or wooing him back or anything like that. It's just like, what?
Yeah. But even then, again, like, not everyone knows who Jerry Thompson is. Why can't you say Pro Tour winner? Jerry Thompson's right there in front of you.
Yeah, the context clues on that photo at least are a little bit better. He's receiving a trophy. He has his hand in the air.
Someone in chat can't get on Rules Guru. Did we crash it?
We crashed it. Please God.
Did we really?
No, I meant no. Okay.
It didn't work for me, but it's fine.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Rules Guru. I thought you did a really cool thing. We didn't mean to mess
I can still get it.
That's good. Okay. We're just probably giving it a lot of traffic. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
And that's more than it's used to.
Great.
So there was a conversation with Brian from Tulare Community College who mentioned, why can't we have both, celebrate the pros and the coverage and so on and so forth. And again, and some middle ground was found there. But again, I feel like, this star building thing, Wizards, you really kind of suck at it. And it's really messing with me how bad you're doing this. And I'm like, there's people you can talk to that can help you do that. And it's like, always include the face, always include their name, always give some context as to why you're showing their face and their name anyway. And do that over and over and over and over and over again, and not just weird, funny pictures of your coverage.
Yeah, I think it's really important to note, and then somebody in the chat brought this up, it's really important to note that, to be clear, it's one thing to criticize sort of the process and say that, these cards could be better utilized without necessarily bringing up the people specifically. And I think this was discussed in the thread as well, that nobody has an issue with Maria or Rich, obviously.
No,
they're gems. But, and that's to be clear, because there were some people that took it to be an attack on them personally or an attack on Jerry personally, when really we're just sort of criticizing the idea behind this, the execution behind this. And so we just wanted to be clear that, if anyone does have an issue with that you do separate it from the people on the cards, because we certainly don't have a problem with the people on the cards. It's how they've been presented by the folks at large.
It's not the trapeze act. It's sticking the landing. Okay. Yeah. Even though you don't stick landings in trapeze, you know what I'm saying. Whatever.
Well, I mean, you
metaphor.
Can't stick
yeah, it's fine. Either way, that's the thing. This is the thing you can improve. That's all I'm saying. Magic Arena. Magic Arena is now in open beta. You can go play it right now. No magical invites necessary, even though you could find one basically anywhere you look if you Google for 3 seconds for the past 3 months, but whatever. Magic Arena is now in open beta. People are now spending money on the program. I've spent a bunch of money on the program, and I'm having a good time. I'm not saying that money wasn't justified. I'm enjoying myself. However, and Jeff Hogan mentioned tonight, he spent, I think he said, over $650. He has like 120 commons, wild cards, 120 uncommon.
Just to be clear here, you guys are spending money on packs that you open
and events. You enter sealed events with gems. You enter drafts with gems as well, or gold, and you can try to grind out gold to not have to pay gems, or you can skip the middleman and just buy the gems and do the thing. Also, opening packs gets you more wild cards, which allows you to build more decks. And when you get 44,000 gems on your account, when you sign back onto it, you can.
What's a gem do?
Well, that's how you buy packs on Magic Arena. So now they should do something thematic like we're buying Lotus Petals.
It sounds hard. Like,
it's not. It really isn't. It's just give them money for things.
It should be Mox Rubies. That's all I'm saying.
20,000. Well, 20,000 gems is $100 to give you an idea of what we're talking about. And to get 90 packs of Guilds of Ravnica, it takes 18,000 gems. So just under your 20K that you bought, you're able to get, more than a booster box, obviously, than of Guilds of Ravnica. You also get 2 of the Impervious Great Worms. So you get 2 of the buy a box promos, and you get 90 packs for a little under $100.
And what happens if you open Garbo?
Well, you're going to open a lot of wild cards. These are the cards you can turn into anything of that rarity. There's mythic wild cards, rare wild cards, uncommon, and common. And so I opened 180 packs of Guilds of Ravnica. I got 39 shock lands. I had all of them but like a Steam Vents, and then I just crafted one out of a rare, right? And then I used the massive amount of wild cards I got from that to be able to build all the decks I wanted to play, which included singleton stuff and included I want 4 of Doom Whisperer, for example. So that's where some of my mythic rares went. But eventually, what you find is that if you're trying to build decks to play on Magic Arena, you're going to have 1 million common wild cards and 1 million uncommon wild cards, because what you're really using for most of the decks is the rares and the wild cards. And that's what they essentially call the rare squeeze. The actual, like, when you're trying to play the game and you want, like, you just, like, for example, I don't have 4 Drowned Catacombs because I'm out of rare wild cards. And that's really annoying. I only have 2 of them. And so you're trying to grind it out. And so you can open packs to get wild cards, so you can get the cards that you're looking for. So
that sounds like a lot of work.
I mean, it is what it is. It's a hell of a lot easier than Magic Online in many ways, but that's another argument. The point is, there's a bottleneck at Rare. Someone had a really cool thread on Reddit kind of explaining the issues with that, particularly compared to Hearthstone. Hearthstone, quite frankly, a Magic deck might be 60% rares, but that's just not how Hearthstone works, and it's certainly not the percentage of Hearthstone decks that use like legendaries and super wild cards in their game. I wanted to mention the last couple paragraphs because it was so clear as to what the point he was making. Right now, looking at AetherHub.com's list of most used cards in Magic Arena, the top 10 has 1 common, 1 uncommon, the rest are rare or mythic rare. The same statistic on hsreplay.net, this is Hearthstone, shows 3 common, 3 rare, 2 epic, and 2 legendary cards. In other words, 80% of Magic Arena's best cards are expensive. While in Hearthstone, the distribution of cheap versus expensive in the top 10 is almost exactly equal, kind of leaning towards cheap. It's kind of like, and this is my favorite, it's kind of like the government made a new law declaring that roof shingles can no longer be purchased in bulk, but must instead be obtained in packages containing 1 roof shingle, 1 window pane, a tractor tire, and a pair of jeans. These packages cost the same as the combined value of all those items. However, the price of a roof just skyrocketed because you don't need new windows and you don't have a tractor. Because if you're buying stuff and you don't need all of it, you just need some of it. Like I
so desperately want to like whatever that was.
That was incredible because again, it's one of those you can't just this weird system that they literally created out of whole cloth. No one does it anywhere close to this, and it creates a huge squeeze at Mythic Rare and Rare. I don't have any of those wild cards right now because I used them all making decks, and that's what decks need. Like you need to
go really hard. Like
if you're getting in Magic Arena here, look, if you want to play constructed, first of all, get all the lands. Get all the lands. Get all the shop lands.
But you can't get all the lands unless you open them, so you have no control over that.
Well, no. The wild cards. If I have a rare wild card, I can turn that into any rare that is in the game.
How do you get a wild card?
Well, you get those through opening packs. You earn them through opening packs, and they will actually be in the pack. Sometimes your rare in the pack is a wild card, and you can make it any rare you want. So you can make it a Steam Vents, or you can make it a Goblin Chain Whirler, or whatever. It doesn't matter. The same for Mythic. So you get a Mythic wild card, you can turn it into a Teferi, or whatever.
Okay.
I'm going to push back on the lands thing. I just need mountains.
Right.
That's you. I'm telling you.
That's
as they say.
That's cute that you think that Era needs like Steam Vents.
All I'm saying is it's good to invest in real estate. All right, you're always going to play lands. You're always going to use the lands.
True.
They're always going
It's
to be
the one
good.
thing they're not making more of.
It's true, except for in Magic.
Except for in Magic.
That's right. Next up is a little tidbit about MTGO traders. Now, secondly, did the raffle finish? I think the raffle did finish. Is that correct? I don't know.
I certainly hope so.
I think it's
I'm
not
still
finished.
trying to figure out tractor tires and roof shingles.
It's fine. It's fine. MTGO traders had a really interesting graphic, and I'm going to put the link in the chat there. They had an interesting graphic of the price of all cards on MTGO since 2008. Does not include sealed product, where there's a rising amount of, and I believe he clarified this as 4 of each card, not as a 1 of, but just 4 of each card for the lifespan. And essentially it grew from starting a little under $2,000 back in 2008, where this is starting to be tracked, all the way till it grew up to, let's see, a little over $14,000 around May 2017. But what you can see here in this graph, again, if you have it pulled up, is that somewhere around 2014, 2015, things really started tapering off. And that's, I think, around the same time as treasure chests. People were saying that treasure chests are one of the main reasons why things didn't go completely haywire. While Rishadan Port used to be 250 tickets. 250 tickets for that thing. The most expensive card on Magic Online for quite a while. Now it was included in treasure chest. It tanked. It's now worth 10 tickets. So imagine the poor folk who bought it at like 200 and thought they were making out. So that's an issue. But again, just really interesting data. Who knew that, 4 of them and everything on the client right now is worth a little over 12 grand. That's really neat.
Yeah. I'm not sure how to look at this graph.
There was a lot of math tonight. I wasn't expecting.
Right. And I'm Bush to begin with, so I'm not a math boy. But does this graph trying to tell us anything in the grander scheme of things?
Not necessarily. For me, this was just like neat, interesting data. Isn't it nice? Wouldn't it be nice to know, how much that that stuff works? Or how much that.
How many roof shingles worth is it? How many?
So many roof.
Well, roof shingles are worth more now because you have to buy all these tractor tires.
Right, and then something about pants. Pants came into play, right?
Yeah.
You can always use more pants.
Always more pants. Yeah. Pair of jeans. Sorry.
So congratulations to Living the Truth. You have won a booster box of Guilds Ravnica. Congratulations.
Very nice.
Yeah, we've seen them in the chat before.
Congrats. Well, there you go. So please give us a shout. Probably, I guess the best idea would be a private message here, I'm guessing.
So this isn't the thing this isn't like Gleam where I can reach out to them?
Correct. This is using Streamlabs.com's raffle stuff.
Okay.
And I also need to look up like lottery laws or something somebody mentioned in terms of like giving subs extra entries, if that's a problem. I honestly don't know. Not a lawyer, but I also don't want to break any laws either. So we'll figure that out.
Oh my God, but think of the downloads if we did, like the scandal.
So many scandals. It would be incredible. All right. So anyway, congratulations. Way to go.
Yeah.
Teferi has officially gotten errata. This being Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. It used to say untap 2 lands at the end of its first ability, and you had to do that. If there were 2 tapped lands, you had to untap them, even if they were your opponent's. Yes, you could add mana to your mana pool for no good reason and untap your own. It's just the idea that I literally, if my lands are all destroyed and my opponent has 2 lands, I have to untap them for them. That's weird. They have now officially errated it to say up to 2 lands instead of untap 2 lands. And MTG Arena is updated as well, for what it's worth. So, ta-da! That's an errata. That's great.
Just so many... whatever. I am pleased that the change happened. I'll leave it at that.
We are all pleased that the change did indeed happen. That said, moving here to splash damage. Ruben, what you doing, buddy?
You may have noticed that I'm bushed and tuckered out. That's because I have a thing that I'm launching soon with several of my friends called the Broken Pact, which will be on twitch.tv/DNP.
What's this right here? What's going on?
What?
You need to sell it, honey. This is going to be a huge success. And you're like,
I'm exhausted. I'm working so hard.
You need to be like, this is the Broken Pact.
In my brain.
I'm Ruben Bressler. Y'all are going to love it. You need to sell us.
Right.
Hello, everybody. I'm the Internet's Ruben Bressler. And I hope that you'll join me in just 10 days. Oh, God, it's 10 days from now.
Oh, God, it's 10 days.
And it's going to be amazing.
And it's going to be amazing, and you all are going to love it. It's the first time that anyone has streamed a crossover event like this, where we are taking a Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica book from Dungeons & Dragons and combining it with the world of Magic the Gathering, and people who are very passionate about doing it. We have an excellent cast of professional role players and Magic personalities and comedians and performers, and of course little old me there tying it all together. So please join me at twitch.tv/DND. That's twitch.tv/DND, or on your socials, use the hashtag the Broken Pact RPG to be a part of the conversation. And stick around after the first episode. We're going to do an episode of Talk Pact, where we will be answering live questions from the audience about the show, about the setting, and about the characters.
There you go.
Please join me for that. I am working very hard. I hope you can tell by the wrinkles in my face and the wrinkles in my soul that I'm trying very, very, very hard to make this a good thing.
Well, you're getting some cheers from chat. We got Gas
You are
City
going to be
Gaming.
amazing. I'm so proud of you.
I'm presently in the middle of Ruben imposter syndrome. No one's ever going to like it. What have I ever done? While simultaneously overworking myself.
Wow. Well, look.
You guys don't understand. He's been sharing ideas with us in the pre-show, and they are brilliant, and they are one of a kind. And this is the official D&D Twitch. Damn it.
Yeah, so
we are on there.
Just give it a shot. I know that it's on Saturday, and you guys are probably watching GP coverage. But if you could bring it up in the background and then mute it, just for us to get the views, I would take that.
Okay. We'll quit before the standards go too low. All right. Moving on here.
We're hoping to get the podcast available for download soon after. We're going to work on that as well.
Awesome. Well, our top 10 cheers this week. Martin Casa, thank you very much. Gas City Gaming.
We have a new thing for Casa, right?
For the Casa.
Because it's not caca.
It's not caca or
caca.
That's a pre-show only joke. You'll have to watch to understand that, folks.
Oh, okay.
Love you, Martin.
Yes, you're good people. Thanks very much for helping out the show. Milkhouse? Smilkhouse. Oni Spumoni. Eric the Great, Thunder Voice 1, the X Echo, Mr. Lubufu, hey, and Parzival 12607.
Thank you.
Thank you much, and thanks to our subscribers for this week: Blazing Disciple, the X Echo, as we talked about, Will Del I Am V5, Chris RD19, Smilkhouse, Will F0910, Chalice Drea. Strawberry the Barber, Wilder New Year, Be Cool 1234, Mr. Lubufu resubscribed. Thank you very much. And a lot of those were resubscriptions. I just have a list of subscribers
here.
So thank you each and every one. We really appreciate
thanks
it.
Everybody. It means the world to us. So thanks.
It really helps out. We're going to turn the corner here to the finisher. Last week's 24-hour arena event was a big success, thanks in part to Reddit user Fugiman, or Fugiman, or how are you supposed to say that? And their Deckmaster plugin, which allowed for streamers of Magic Arena to utilize different hoverable zones that displayed the cards for viewers to read instead of waiting for the streamer to hover over it. Now, easy access to the hand, board state, graveyard, and exile zones is great and all, but I think the man known as Fugi has a gold mine here. What are other things you would like to be clearer in the future using the Deckmaster app, Ruben?
Well, I'm planning on using the Deckmaster app to hover over the DCI to make sure I have a clearer image of what exactly it takes to get suspended from Magic the Gathering's proceed for various lengths of time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to work because no one knows. That's
I don't know. The Deckmaster app is pretty powerful.
Because that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here live to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me. And tune in to Ruben's show. It's going to be great.
It's a week and a half. We got another week to
Just say.
Week 10 days. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you. And yeah, come hang out and play D&D with me. It'll be fun.
It'll be sweet. Move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening, and hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmikespodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmikespodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes, or join us here next week. Same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.